This audio program is presented by Audible.com. Audible, audio that speaks to you wherever you are.
Welcome to this fabulous time with Billy Crystal and Robin Williams. Those of you who know, brace yourself. Billy?
Yes, sir.
What's your first memory of performing?
First memory performing was at a concert, 1953, Carnegie Hall. My dad produced a concert there with W.C. Handy, who was a man who wrote St. Louis Blues. He was blind. He had his dog on stage. He played cornet. And I was in the wings with my dad and my brothers. I was a little kid, and the music started, the jazz started, and I ran out on stage and started jumping around, just like dancing. And the crowd started going, "Who's that kid?" And the dog started barking, and they pulled me off stage.
I don't know who that was.
It was a wild scene, and I just remember I wanted to do that. I remember, relatives, big room of relatives. The family was huge. A lot of them now. And there was always 30 or 40 at Passover or Thanksgiving or even Christmas, because we celebrated everything, because we loved being together. And
what would you do at Christmas?
My brothers and I would get up and imitate the relatives. So my room was the room when you came in, my little 4 or 5 room house. Our room was the coat room. So people would come in and put those Persian coats and the living weasels that they'd wrap around their neck. And
the ones with their heads still going, help me. The ones that bit their own tail.
Yep.
It's not bad enough you killed me. You made me put my head up my own ass.
And that became the wardrobe room. Then we'd come out, and my Uncle Bern, who you know, we do fake operas and stuff and
make fun
records
of everybody?
and make fun of people and stand on a coffee table. And my cousin Edith, who's still alive, 87, would give me dimes as payment, and I put them on my forehead. And when your forehead was filled, the show was over. So so I remember doing that, and there was no turning back. I always knew I was going to do this. Don't you always know you were going to do this in a way?
I kind of knew after high school, but it was not until then.
Yeah, I was a little guy. And then and in the high school shows, we had a show called The Swing Show. Dance band, variety acts, and so on. So I memorized the Jonathan Winters hunk.
Which one?
It was a horror movie. And it was the doctor made this huge monster and turned him into a basketball player. And Igor was his assistant, don't touch him, stay away from him, that kind of stuff. And I had memorized the whole thing, because Jonathan also for me was like, he was the tits. He was the greatest. And I did the routine in the school show, but I just did it, right, and just memorized it. And you didn't think like you were stealing. You didn't even think about that.
It's like you were doing it.
Yeah, and it was like a huge hit. And I just turned a basketball player into one of our local guys in high school. Then the next year I did Noah, Cosby's classic routine. Because my dad we owned this music store, so he was always bringing home the comedy albums. Because was the vogue, was the comedy albums. I knew way more about the comedy albums than I did about rock and roll. I was like a savant for the albums.
Which ones were your favorite ones?
The New Heart, The Button Down Mind, which was the album of the year.
Oh, little girl, go get mommy. Yeah.
And the album of the year was the best album. It won the Grammy Best Album of all music albums. Was The Button Down Mind of Bob Newhart in 1962.
It won the best album?
Best album of the year.
That must have been the only time a comedy album won best album for Grammy.
Beat everything. And all the Cosby albums, And then I did the Noah in the school show, and then years later, friends in high school would come up to me and go, "Hey, there's this guy Cosby. He's doing your stuff."
Oh, God.
But even way before then, in school shows, I would always improvise and go off book in the school plays and stuff. And
then when you were in college, you had an improv group.
Yeah. After I got out of the draft lottery in 1970, I got...
What was your draft number?
354.
Bingo, me, 351. You and me both. That would have been bad if we got drafted.
I had a high school teaching job. I was going to teach English to get a deferment to get out of Vietnam. And then they stopped the teaching deferments. And then I got this lottery number.
You were safe.
And I called these 2 friends of mine, Dave Hawthorne and Al Finelli, and I said, "You want to go into show business? Let's go." And we started this group called Three's Company. And we were okay.
Where did you perform?
College campuses called the Coffee House Circuit. There was like off vaudeville.
Like Rathskillers, and you'd be on, and in the background, pick up on 4!
Exactly. During in the coffee shops, during the day, and at night. You'd be there all week sometimes, or three days a week, and they'd have like an alcohol-free coffee house. and we'd be there all week. It was a whole circuit, and it was great because it was our vaudeville, and we were out in front of people all the time learning. But during that time, I was writing most of the stuff, coming up with most of the ideas and so on, and I was just frightened. I had always been on my own as a kid prior to that, and I just wasn't ready to. I was with them 4.5 years, and it's lonely at the middle, and and then one day
it snapped.
A friend of mine called me. I started being managed by the guys who are still our managers, and they said, "Listen, we don't think the group's got a big future here, but we like, if you ever want to do stand-up, we'd be there for you." And I remember I was feeding Jenny, who was about 18 months old. She's 28 now, and phone rang. It was my friend Ira Sardi, and he said, "Listen, we need a comedian this weekend. Do you know anybody who could do 20 minutes?" And I said, "Oh, I'll do it." And he went, "When did you start doing stand-up?" "Oh, I've been doing it a long time." I just lied, but I had to. I gave myself a deadline. I couldn't back out now. And he said, "All right, so here's the address, ZBT, Mercer Street, something, something, something." I hung up the phone, and I remember taking the oatmeal off Jenny's chin and said, "Baby, we're going into show business." And that's how it started.
And did you have one last final performance with your partners?
Yes, I did. I had done this thing at ZBT, and it went great. And all of these manager men showed up, which meant a lot to me. And I did an hour and a half. It just flew out of me, just off the top of my head, going nuts. I just went.
What were you doing?
Wild.
Everything?
Everything I could think of, and then didn't think of. Stuff was just happening. And we had one more gig to do as a group with Melissa Manchester at the Bitter End in New York. And I said to them, they didn't know that I had done this thing. I felt like I cheated on them. I said, "Fellas, if nothing happens after this 3 days with Melissa, because she was hot as like could be. Every agent in town is going to see us, every booker. If nothing happens, I can't do this anymore. I have a family now. I'm going to go on my own." I don't think they actually thought I would go, So I was praying, "Nobody hire us. Please, nobody hire us. Don't take us on tour. Nobody." Because I was ready now. And we did this routine where I played Joe Franklin, which I later did on Saturday Night Live. And
Joe Franklin, my friend.
And they were these two old comics. And the routine was they couldn't remember the setups and the punchlines, and they were confused. It was a senile act. And in the middle of it, one of them would fall to the ground like he's having a heart episode. I used to jump off my stool, the thing I was sitting on, come down, pound the guy in the chest 3 times. He'd wake up and go, "Thank you, Joe," and then finish the act, right? But now I knew this was it. That's it. I'm free. Well, I just beat him up.
You beat the
I beat the shit out of him. I just screaming at him, "You never took your car. I wrote all this stuff. You owe me for plane tickets." I went on, just knocked him under Melissa's piano. And the guy stood up, and in character he went, "You broke my pen, you bastard." And then we finished, and then that was it.
That was it. Never again.
There was one other thing that we did together, but it was.
And then you're off on your own.
Off on my own.
And what was your first stuff? What were you doing?
I did a lot of impressions, a lot of Ali Cosell, Ali and Cosell, and that started my relationship with Ali.
Man, it's amazing to see you and him, and when he sees you, he just lights up.
He's been, and you've seen it. He's an amazing guy, and I did my first television.
I love when he says,
show.
"Hello, little brother."
"Hello, little brother." It's so funny. And he tells you the same joke every time. A black guy, Puerto Rican guy, and an Italian guy was sitting in the car. "Who's driving?" I go, "What?" He goes, "The cop." Tells you the same thing over and over again. But he's been, so that was how it got started.
And it's amazing to see that you still he sees and he just lights, man.
He's an amazing man. You said it the best when you saw him. You said he's Buddha.
It is. It's Buddha with gloves, And he just looks, and you see the way he looks at children and the way he looks at adults, and his face just emanates that. And like you said, even through the Parkinson's and everything else, he's still there.
Yeah.
I like he leaned forward to me and said, "You're not that funny."
Oh,
it was just dropped me because he knew I'd be like, "What?"
Yeah.
And he just laughed.
No, he's the greatest. Amazing spirit, and been a great inspiration in my life. That in that time period, in the '60s, Bobby Kennedy, Martin Luther King getting killed, only 7 years after Kennedy was killed. Who'd we look up to? You know, who'd we have in that turmoil? And it was Ali standing up and saying, I ain't got no quarrel against no Viet Cong. I'm ready to die. And gave up the heavyweight crown for his religious beliefs. And then and he was the first guy to say, this is wrong. This war is wrong. We're killing our boys. I'm not going. It's not that I'm afraid. It's just wrong. And that was enough for me.
It's amazing. You know, people, even like Colin Powell saying, I didn't agree with him, but I honor his courage on that. It's a wild time, man.
Yeah.
And you captured it too, because it's this thing where you become him, and then and Cosell too.
Well, Cosell now, as I've
picture of Howard backstage.
I knew Howard so well and worked with him. Certain hours of the day, man, I can get on the phone. I'm good on the phone, and sound like him. Usually early in the morning or right before I go to sleep.
Which is?
If I'll call you on the phone.
Okay. Ring.
Say hello.
Hello?
Robin.
Howard?
Howard. Listen, I'm sitting here. I'm alone in my room in boxer shorts. I just had a remarkable meal from room service here at the Four Seasons in Chicago. I had runny eggs. Eggs over easy, that's how I prefer them. A little bit of bacon and an English muffin delivered by Gwen with a succulent lower lip. I want to ask you this. Friday, I've got a benefit for Temple Zion. Can you come and do an hour and a half?
Howard, I don't know. Maybe.
Thank you. I think that'll be great if you could be there. People love them. They love you. They love you.
Howard?
Hello. You know, I'm sitting here all alone. The hairpiece is sitting on the bureau, actually looking at me. For once, I had the feeling, Rob, that there was a small rodent in the room, but I was wrong. There you go. We're going to have something up my ass in a minute, aren't we?
No, I wasn't going there, I swear,
okay.
Daddy.
Ouch, ouch, ouch. There, right there. The rodent, perfectly placed. Now, he was an amazing guy. I sat with him. But here's a great story. This guy, I really liked him, but there was an ego that was astoundingly strange sometimes. I was hosting The Tonight Show when Johnny was there, and it was really a great thing to get a chance to do that. That was really awesome. And I called up Howard and I said, would you be my guest, my first guest on The Tonight Show? Because I had really made my television debut on his show, Saturday Night Live with Howard Cosell. Oh, I did Good Morning America this morning, whenever this was done, and the guy's hooking on my microphone. He said, I used to hook your microphone on a Cosell show. It's 27 years ago. He goes, you know what? You're holding up pretty good.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I remember you.
You're holding up pretty good.
Remember me, Petey?
So I'm in the dressing room before the show, and I'm really nervous. I mean, it was The Tonight Show. It was Johnny. It was, getting to use his desk, his thing. Johnny was the greatest, and that was something. And Howard said, I won't do a pre-interview. I don't need to do a pre-interview. We'll just talk. Whatever you want to talk about, I'm there for you. See you Monday. And boom, no pre-interview, nothing. So I'm nervous, so I'm going to do my monologue, which was nerve-wracking anyway, and then here it is, it's The Tonight Show. Knock on the door. Who is it? I'm 5 minutes from going on. It's Howard. So, open the door. Howard, thank you very much. How you feeling? Everything okay? He starts weeping. No, things are terrible. My wife is very ill. I fear for her life. But I'll be okay. Ask me about anything that you want. And he starts he's just weeping. It's 3 minutes to air. Knock on the door. It's Freddie DeCordova. Here we go, young man. Let me walk you to the mark. And what the hell is going on? He's got this big weeping Howard on him. Howard, what's the matter? What did you say to him? No, Emmy is very sick. I don't know what's going to... Oh, my God. I don't know what to do. But I'll be okay. I'll be okay, right? And I said, Howard, ask me anything. I'll be there for you. And it's terrible. He's on my mind while I'm doing the monologue. It goes fine. I'll be right back with my first guest, Howard Cosell. Sit at the desk. Fred said, everything is fine. Howard is okay. He's composed. He'll be great, right? My first guest, I made my da-da-da-da. Please welcome Howard Cosell. He walks out, sits down. He looks great. Howard, it's a pleasure to have you. Of course it is. Howard, I just want to say, I want to ask you one question. There's going to be a football strike in the NFL. Athletes on strike. How do you feel about that? I don't want to talk about it. Why should we talk about that? Let's talk about something else. This is the guy who just said to me, let's talk about anything you want. I said, all right, how about this revenue sharing in baseball? Should teams share? I don't want to talk about it. It's old news. No matter what I asked him, I don't want to talk about
anything.
And I was so pissed.
How about that?
Nothing. Then I go, all right, let me ask you this. As they're holding up the 1 minute to commercial thing, I've been on for 5 minutes if I don't want to talk about it. I said, finally, what would you say when you look at your career, you go, I was good on that moment, that one I felt good about. He then launches into, down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier, his call of the Joe Frazier-George Foreman fight. It's really fantastic. They go to commercial. I'm like bewildered. He puts his hand over the microphone. He goes, did you notice how I dominated you?
You prick!
I do the same thing to Letterman. And I was,
Oh, God. It set you up with like, yeah, we'll talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, strange guy. But I had a great affection for him nonetheless.
The picture you once told me, you walked in, he was in his shorts, and you said it was like a great day.
Oh, yeah, I saw him. I saw his goodies. He was hosting Saturday Night Live, and he was playing Ed Grimley's cousin or uncle or something like that. And the boxer shorts were pulled way up, and his goodie bag, like the little bag of gizzards that come with the chicken, were hanging below his thing, and he looked like a Great Dane walking away. It was not a pretty picture.
I'll be ready.
Oh, God.
Well, then, like when you did Saturday Night Live, did you have a great time?
I had the best time I ever had in my life.
You and Chris, man. Oh, God.
Yeah, Chris Guest and I and Marty Short and Harry. But I did the bulk of my work with Chris.
And Sammy.
Yeah, Sammy happened actually the year before. I had just... I was just a little stomach rumble. I just finished working with Sammy. We did the 28 straight nights at the great room that I know you love too, the Harris and
But that thing about when he had his operation and the story grew.
Yeah, he introduced me. I had not worked with him before, and I finished this was opening night. It was Sammy and I was thrilled because he was Michael Jackson to us. He could do everything. He was still the greatest song and dance man you ever can imagine. And I do 30 minutes, open, went great. He walks right out. He doesn't get introduced. He just follows you right out on stage. And he started with, thank you so much. Can I just say something about the young man who just left the stage, who graced it? A couple of years ago, we had done a lot of benefits together and stuff like that. No, it had not happened. And I was in ICU in Reno with a pneumonia, and thanks for all the good support you folks gave me. And this young man came to ICU and held up a sign that said, "Get well, Sam. Can't do it without you." No, never happened. And I just want to say what a thrill it is to have him on it. He went on and on and on about how I had helped him through this pneumonia that he had. It had not happened.
And I saw the white light.
It's basically that. Second show, same night. I finish, he walks out, and he goes, is that the white prior, or am I nuts? His exact words. Let me tell you something about this man. Goes into another speech that never happened. But they were great ones. So I went to the sound man, I said, Gary, he goes, that was really nice what you did for Sammy in the hospital. I said, well, it's nothing. Because there was nothing, it never happened. So I tape recorded all of Sammy's intros to me. 28 straight nights, 56 shows. He told a different story every night that sounded so great, but never happened. And I have them, and they're remarkable. The other day I took Bill's kids out on the lake and we're skipping stones, just throwing it and watching the ripples. And then he would work it into a song intro.
Mr. Stone Skip.
Look, we see how a circle becomes a spiral, like a wheel within a wheel, and it never ended. And they would just he'd be off and running. And I never had the heart to say to him, "What are you doing?" Because it was so fascinating. Because it was just so fascinating. He still was the greatest, most fun of that kind of guy that I ever worked with. I loved him.
And you could channel him at any moment.
Yeah, I mean, I just.
Do you feel he's in the room now?
I'm always in the room, you know, when we get near Purim, which is one of my people's holidays, and I mean that.
And why is it your favorite holiday, Sam?
Because of the Gregors. Those are the noisemakers and the story of Haman and, you know, all of that thing. And it's good food, not like your Yom Kippur.
Which is?
The Day of Atonement.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a good day. It's a nice, peaceful day.
Are you happy now that you're where you are now and gone beyond?
No, I'd rather be alive. I mean, if I had my goodie bag filled, it would be with life, you know. You know, I don't like death and the hours. Sheesh.
And what do you think about the people who are still out there? Don't go there. What about Barbara?
I just tell her to lighten up. Just lighten up.
And the vagina monologues?
That's it. I wasn't going to go there. Talk about the vagina monologues, you know.
And the vagina...
Cunt won't stop talking. There, you got the whole thing, okay? You got the whole thing.
I had to hear it!
But I remember the first time I met you was in San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
At the benefit for the boarding house.
Oh, yes. That was a wild night. All those people. We're doing benefits for David Allen, who could never afford to
But it was
pay.
a great show. It was Lily Tomlin, Marty Mull.
You, me.
Melissa.
Steve Martin.
That's right. Steve.
Loudon Wainwright.
Wow.
It was wild.
I still have the T-shirt with all the names
all
on
those
it.
names on it.
Yeah.
And the club has been dead for so long. We used to have to do benefits, and the police would be by the door taking the money as the people walked in, because he was always broke.
But you worked on the streets first, yes?
I did some mime in front of the Metropolitan Museum, which was pretty wild because there would be ladies in fur coats going, "Get the fuck away from me." And then I started doing, like you, kind of improv, and then stand-up as kind of a offset of that. But we didn't, you know, really start performing together till Comic Relief.
That's right.
And then it was like, whoa.
Then we had great fun.
Oh, man.
Still, I mean...
We used to have that bet of how long before Whoopi says motherfucker.
Get even, motherfuckers. That's it. Over with.
Thank you. Good night. Or the first Comic Relief where George Carlin came out and said, "Anorexia, what do I give a shit if some rich cunt won't eat?" It was like, "Good night, everybody. Thank you. Our lines are open."
No, it's a great place to play, and for us to, and for all the comics to spend that week. It's like, you know, we get to be together.
And all those music numbers working out and getting ready, and you doing those characters.
But you know what was great was the first show. 12 years ago, I guess it is. And we did our opening and whatever we did. I don't remember which one we did, and I think it was with a choir, and at the amphitheater. And the adrenaline was so good, and then we went backstage, and Pat Lee was producing the show, said the phones are ringing.
Yeah, it was sweet.
And then you realize, oh God, that's why we're doing this. Yeah. And it happened. We raised $50 million, man. It's cool.
It's still needed, you know. It's that whole thing that it just keeps driving through. People still come up, you know. They want to know, when's your next? Some guy came up today. I was about to get in the cab. He's like, "What are you doing on one of those comic reliefs?" "I don't know, Mr. Weinstein."
There's nothing like it, you know. When we did it, it was great fun. Always.
And watching you do those characters too. God, you did that one that you're the Vietnam vet.
Yes.
And then when you do sports things where you would shoot.
Oh yeah, with Pat Riley.
And then Whoopi came out and started hitting on him.
Oh, that was the greatest thing. We did that introduction lasted 20 minutes.
Yeah, because
they ended up standing up.
Yeah, you were shooting, and then Whoopi just came out and just was trying to, you know, basically, you know.
She wanted Pat.
Pat, big time.
She wanted Pat.
Mm-hmm. She wanted to be with Mr. Riley personally.
It was fun.
And then there'd be these wild things, you know, that something would always be. And then you'd, what was the next one? You did another one. You did one on
The Chicken Man.
Chicken Man. Oh,
that was during the riots. The guy who had his little business burnt down.
Right.
Yeah. You know, we have a chance to do good stuff because we have a voice that you have you know, you can get out in front of people, and the thing about either writing a song or doing a monologue or something is extraordinary. And want to get back to that. I miss that. When you're doing something, you always go out there? You always...
Yeah, I go back out and do stuff. But you said like when you went back out in Aspen, that's why I had to kind of bring Sammy back.
Yeah, man.
Because when you go back out and it's sudden you started to get the spark again. That's why I said, come on, don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Because I tend to say, come to the dark side.
No, it's true. I've stayed away from stand-up for, 10, 12 years.
You got to go back, though, boy. Because what are your favorite characters you've ever done?
Well, I love the black baseball player that I did with Chris.
You know, you've been around a long time.
Yeah, we was good.
I seen you when you were playing back then.
Well, when I first started playing in the Negro League,
You started, I remember, before the Philadelphia Clowns.
Oh no, we were the St. Louis Schmucks. Yeah, we played.
That was the only Negro League team sponsored by a kosher bakery.
Yeah, we was good.
They were good.
Yeah, we were good. We were first known as the Fillins. And then...
That's such a hard thing to say.
Hard thing.
To Philin.
Well, that whole language is weird.
Isn't it? It's a verse.
A lot
like
of
Philin, Sitsis, Harlem, Holly,
that stuff.
all that thing.
But, we were not allowed to have dinner in the white man's dining room. We weren't allowed
And
to
also
have...
you had, not only that, you had to have kosher, too.
Yeah, we
You
were...
had to have
we
the fresher dicky, milky dicky.
And we couldn't drink water from the white man's fountain. We couldn't ride in the white man's bus. But if they knew we was with their women, I don't think the dinner would have been a problem.
Right, because you were eating white man pussy all the time.
But that was a long time ago.
Yeah, but you certainly established yourself as a man.
As a baseball player. I love the game, love the lady, love the lady.
Ladies loved you too.
Well, I was a good player, and my downfall was the women. But I loved the women to play the game and then to have it, and then just go.
I heard that you had seen more puss than a litter box. Is that true?
Right. Yeah.
Every day that you had to drop your custard, that was your thing. That you had to drop.
You got to drop your custard
just before you step in the batting box.
Twice a day.
Twice a day.
The dragon got to spit the fire.
That's what I've heard.
I say to the women that I would with when I was playing that enjoy my man juice. Just enjoy it. This is my gift to you. I leave you an eighth of an ounce of me.
Your sacred spooge.
Just accept the juice of my manhood and with the sincerest affection that I have for you as a receptacle for that.
Yeah. And these women would do that.
And that's what I always felt that.
One of those women was Eleanor Roosevelt. Was that not true?
Yeah. Now that was when Miss Roosevelt
came to see you play,
and she just took a liking to me, and so we commenced to on the team bus. I said, "Just hold up a second, fellas. Just hold up a second. I got to talk to the first lady." And to me, she wasn't the first.
One of many.
One of many, and I told her
she's about the 80th lady at that point.
But she had an overbite that was appealing.
There's nothing like that, isn't it? It's kind of like taking a road that takes an interesting turn.
Well, what's interesting is that it was such an overbite. She could take the back part of you first.
Yeah.
And then, actually, the front part of you second. So it was almost like you went back in time.
Mind boggles. And
I actually, influenced, without knowing, her husband. And she said to me, "Are you frightened?" And I said, the only thing I have to fear
is fear itself.
Yeah.
And that's why I got that line.
Yeah, but what I was most frightened about was that overbite.
I'm not telling you. I heard. Lord, you took it home.
Yeah.
All the first ladies knew you.
Mamie Eisenhower.
Oh, yeah. Mamie. Ooh. That's what it's about.
I said to her, Mamie, I like Ike, but I like you better. More
you see, you've influenced more campaigns. Ask not. You've done that too. That's what.
And Mrs. Truman.
Best Truman.
Harry would take his walk.
Yeah, and then you've been there breaking the headboards in the White House.
That's it.
In the Lincoln bedroom. Free at last.
Independence, Missouri.
Take it home.
That's where I was.
That's where it was. Amen. There it was. Bringing it home.
Now, and I got her to talking to me.
And what did she say?
And while we were doing, I got her to talk during the sex.
And what happened?
And finally, I didn't mean to like Forrest Gump, influence history. But I got her learning, drop the custard, drop the thing, and I got her saying, "Come on, drop that bomb, drop that bomb on me." and one morning, her and Harry were doing it, and he was helping her and Harry, and he heard drop the bomb, and he did.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
You influenced that man to drop the bomb.
I ain't saying it's a coincidence, but it
sure is a synchronicity. Synchronicity.
Yeah. That's it. Over with.
Thank you. Good night. We're going to come back in just a little while with Billy Crystal. You know the man. Now hear the reality. Bingo.
Okay, now that he's gone, I don't understand why I don't have a show like this. I just put up with him and tolerate him, and he sits there and pretends to be interested in anything I'm saying. But he is a good friend, but this is sad to see what's happened to him. This isn't even radio.
You've been listening to Robin Williams at Audible.com, presented by Blue Wolf Productions.
Welcome back to this fabulous time with Billy Crystal and Robin Williams, Fernando, Sammy, many, many more. There's lots of people here today. We're going to talk about life, show business, and olive oil. It's so great to have you here.
Well, it's so much fun to whatever we're doing is fun.
Yeah, whatever this is. It's like radio, but slower.
I see.
Where it's like, it's all that whole internet thing.
This is steaming video?
Steaming audio.
Steaming audio, right?
Yeah, so that's why we can talk about cats and sex, and it's okay.
It is?
Yeah.
There's no monitoring of this?
No.
Oh, good. Look at my ass.
It's beautiful, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go.
I'll tell you that, my friends. It doesn't get any better. Well, we're back. It's certainly been a big, big day here. You've got a baseball movie coming out? Big baseball movie. You are the baseball fan.
I love the game.
You loved it ever since you went?
I love to play it. I love to watch it. I love to
smell it?
Yeah. I made a movie called 61 for HBO Films about the great 1961 season when Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle chased Babe Ruth's record.
And this was a great time for baseball.
It was a great time for baseball. It was two guys, especially in New York. Good afternoon and welcome to Yankee Stadium. They were two men who played on the same team, played in the same stadium as Babe Ruth, wore the uniform. Maris played the same position, but they also lived together that summer.
They were roommates?
They're roommates. That's what the story, was also one of the big reasons why I wanted to make the movie.
Because you knew them both, too.
Yeah, well, I never met Roger, but I feel like I've known him my whole life. Now with this, Mickey and I were pretty good friends, and he told me a lot of these stories. So to get them right and put that information into the movie was a great feeling for me. I loved every inch of making this picture.
And they did it, and the guys became them.
They did. They right in front of your face. They worked their asses off.
Two totally different types of guys. Right?
Yeah, Barry Pepper plays Roger, an uptight, straight, honest guy, and Thomas Jane plays the charismatic, hard-living, boyish hillbilly Mickey Mantle, and they're phenomenal together. Mickey drank a lot and played around, and still was able to hit 536 home runs in his career.
Jeez.
And just regretted it later. And the movie was hard for me because I had to show sides of my hero that weren't pleasant. Mm-hmm. But if I didn't do it, it wouldn't be right. And he would have been mad at me. He would say, "Hey, come on, you son of a bitch! I screwed up. You better show it." Because we showed the seeds of what he would later change in his life when he got sober finally. So I'm really proud of it. It's been a great experience to make the movie. I had two back-to-back that were really good. That and a movie called America's Sweethearts.
What was that like?
Well, it was great because I was a co-author of the script with Peter Toland, who I did Analyze This with, and he's a really funny guy.
You and Mr. D? Robert
Bobby
De Niro?
D.
Well, no, it's good. It's good.
Now, you've worked with him.
Yeah, but we didn't do a comedy like with you and him.
We couldn't keep a straight face.
It must have been. I came that night and visited, and he would lose it.
He'd lose it. We just would giggle.
He's got all those guys around him too. The guys, the real, Sopranos, the road company.
Yes.
Yeah, you remember Vinny? Yeah, I remember Vinny. Yeah, nice to see you, Robbie.
No, I know. Those guys who, when they come on a talk show, they're always in silhouette.
Yeah.
The first time I remember seeing Vinny, he was wearing a silk suit, and he shot the guy in the back of the head, and blood splattered all over me. And I said, I love this job.
The town of Witness Protection, New Jersey.
Everybody talks like that.
I want to tell you, would you like that order to go? Hoffa walked into the room, and I knew he wouldn't walk out.
Yeah, now I said, get in the trunk, you fuck. How about those season tickets? A lot of people don't know. Welcome back to Witness Protection, New Jersey, the town where everybody's safe. I hope I'm never in focus. Do you, Tony?
Carmine once said to me, if I had to kill somebody again, I would do it in a minute, even if it was on my birthday.
Happy birthday, motherfucker.
Take this.
What are you doing? Don't lose it now. Tell me what you had. What was your best hit? Do you remember your best hit?
I walked up behind him.
Yeah?
He was a waiter.
Uh-huh.
And I said, I'm going to have the veal. How is that prepared? And he said, you sneak up behind the veal, you hit it with a hammer, and then you bleed it, hang it upside down, and got it. And that's what we did to him. I don't feel good about it now.
But that's what you do for a living.
I was born into it, Roy. I never had the opportunity just to be a kid.
You're saying when the other kids were playing cowboys and Indians, you were playing Hitman and Target.
I went to a very tough school, Our Lady of Richard Conte.
Right.
It was a very tough school.
Sister Mary Dick Butkus would slap you around. You know, a lot of kids don't get it. You try and shove another kid into the trunk of a Lego car.
It's
They don't
hard.
know. A Tonka truck with a body in the back. You're trying to bury Barbie.
Our
What's that
school
about?
mascot was Lou Duva.
That's a reference. A lot of people are calling in right now going, what the fuck does that mean, Terry? Our lines are open. Those who want to call us, call in. We can't answer as ourselves, but Terry and myself, Nigel, will be here all week taking calls in Witness Protection, New Jersey.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, as long as it's nothing personal or about an address.
Oh, I'll call back then.
Okay, thank you. You know, our lines are open. Please help. A lot of people are calling us and say, did The Sopranos rip you off in any way? I don't think so. You know, we've been around for a while. We've been trying to put out, we have our own line of merchandising, and we have our meat tenderizer, Found the Fuck, which is a great meat tenderizer. It's a barbecue tenderizer. It's basically what it is a hammer covered in a little bit of our favorite barbecue sauce.
It's a very good sauce. It works on broken leg of lamb.
Right.
It works on the broken ribs of beef.
Right, that's really great too. Anything there, or the snap neck of chicken. That's always a great one too.
We like that, and also the catch 'em and gut 'em.
That's right, that's a great dish to have on anyone. We'll be back with our cooking show later. And also, we're telling how to marinate beef after leaving it in a trunk in a car somewhere in the Hudson River for over 4 weeks. Our lines are going to be open all day. Remember, call in. We can't always get back to you because, you know, we still have problems with people maybe finding out where we live. That's all right now. But that's all the part of it here. That's it for today. I'm Nigel. That's Terry. Thanks for calling Witness Protection, New Jersey.
Boy, when we were making analyzers, we're up in Sing Sing.
Mm-hmm.
And Bob and I are outside, and there's thousands of cats all over the place, climbing up the walls. And you see these big hands take them into the cell. So I jokingly said, so what are they stooping the cats? And he went, no, they do other things with the cat. I said, what? He said, well, they take a little bit of milk and put it on the head of their thing, and the cats lick it off. And that's how they get excited, because the cats have a little nubby tongue. And I went, that's a little desperate.
But you'll never know till you had Kitty.
I mean, that's scary. It's lonely.
Oh, yeah. All right now. You're almost there.
There's tons of cats walking around.
And the cats are coming from miles around going, you know, first you start off with milk. And then it gets crazy.
But Juan.
What are you doing?
Yeah, it's lonely. It's lonely.
It's a lonely thing.
Well, I swear to God, you had pussy in prison every day, every day, and afterwards it cleaned itself. You know, you ain't never had a self-cleaning pussy on the outside. When I was there, you know, you drop your custard, and then it's all cleaned up afterwards. And then later on, you don't have to talk to it. It just sits in the back there playing with the yarn. So much.
So it's a cheap date, basically.
Oh,
A ball of yarn and you set
ball of
your
yarn,
wings.
a little milk on the end of your dick, and you got yourself an evening. I remember that a lot of times, you know. Do you know how you...
So you actually become a chew toy.
Yeah. But the only thing I don't like is start batting your testicles around.
Don't confuse the ball of yarn.
Oh, no, easy, kid, easy. You know, that's the one time I don't like it. But
I understand.
It gets rough.
Right.
But, you know, you can have that inside. Thousands of cats that sing.
Climbing up the walls.
Well.
Yeah, but, you know, it's lonely. Location romance.
Oh, yeah. You hear this outside the trailer. Who is it? It's my 5 o'clock. I gotta go. What are you doing? Dead kitty walking. Oh, baby, I love you. Oh, what are you talking about? I love you.
Them bitch be spraying.
That's my radio.
Damn. Bitch be spraying.
Sprayed all over my cell. I can't believe you.
The thing about it was the guard very matter-of-factly saying, of course, they have that nubby tongue.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh.
No, thank you. Thank you. Look, that makes it very clear now. Thank you. Like before, you know, if it wasn't for that, it wouldn't be interesting.
No, I could just see these prisoners calling their wives. No, you know, don't come up this weekend. No, I'd love to see you and the kids, but I'm working in a metal shop, and we're doing a stage production of, you know,
Oh, when
Hamlet.
they get out. When they finally get out after 20 years ago. Baby, you do me a favor? Yeah, I want you to make this noise. I need you to
Go shit in that little box in the corner, if you would. It's
What's
exciting
the
to
sandbox
me.
for? Just do it for me, sweetheart, if you
Come
love
on, make boom for daddy.
me. If you love me, go over in the corner and then just sit in that sandbox and take a dump and then do this. Spray some sand. That's how I need it. Please, honey, I love you.
Oh,
We're back with Billy Crystal.
yes.
Welcome.
Oh, don't say my name.
We're back with Mr. Jones in room 12.
Yes, that's what it is. You know. Oh boy. Even the engineer just went no. And I like these two guys, but no.
What's making you...
I was just thinking about the other day. I was sitting on the bench with Saul.
And what did they do to you?
He says I can't remember the day I was born. I don't remember my birthday.
And you said you could
I said,
tell
let
him.
me rub your balls. I don't remember. So he rubbed his balls for about a half hour. He says, what are you doing? I said, wait. March 14th, 1909. That's when you were born. He goes, that's right. How did you know that? I said, you told me yesterday.
That's... Oh. You see, that was worth doing.
Yeah.
That's lovely
Yeah.
that you remembered for me.
Well, look, these things happen.
What?
I went to the doctor.
And?
He said I need a sample of your urine, your blood, and your
And some
stool.
semen?
Yes. And I
Okay.
said, listen, just take my underwear. I told him that.
That's a nice thing. Do you ever have the doctor, they do that orthoprocticam where they put the camera in your ass?
See, it wasn't the camera that bothered me.
What was the part that bothered you?
The crew.
I hate that.
The whole
But you know
sound
what I
crew.
got?
What?
I got photo approval.
You know what? The
What?
camera loves me.
Even they...
The camera loves me. They shoved it right up my ass. But you know what the key to doing the colonoscopy is?
What?
A good Merlot. I'm telling you, 2 glasses of a Merlot, you could shove your fist in my ass and I wouldn't care.
I did.
Oh, that was you. I have a very low tolerance for wine.
I need my Timex back, though. I remember that one time we were talking the other day and it went off and I went, that sounds familiar.
You found your watch.
I did,
Yeah.
but I had to wait a while.
Yeah.
But a nice Merlot will help you get through
It
that.
has to be.
Really?
Yeah. It's good with ass. A Merlot.
With a nice ass and 2 glasses of Merlot, and you're not afraid they can
That's
go
it.
up there?
But it has to be a good one, because I sent the bottle back that didn't smell right.
After they had the hand up your ass?
No, before.
Oh.
I said, waiter,
Does it smell like shit to you?
what's a good wine with to relax my sphincter?
And what did he say?
He said that they're not as
you know, it's a great
Zinfandel or-
wine. Ah,
That's a good wine.
Great wine.
He gave me an Appalachia County 1972. It was good.
And that's good. And then you just relaxed, and they got the camera all the way up the Nile.
That was it.
That's the way to go.
That's all.
That's what we need to know.
Oh, boy.
What is it now?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you know, you're alive. That's a good thing.
Eh,
Do you
I
try
guess.
Viagra yet? I know
Huh?
it sounds like a maid. Viagra.
I tried it once.
And what happened?
I'm still up.
Really?
This was 6 months ago.
You're harder than Chinese algebra.
Telling you,
What happened?
I could hang wet towels from my little boy.
Isn't that amazing?
Amazing.
That's like that guy who said, you know, that's how you shake a towel. That's the...
That was me.
Yeah, that's it. When you... Did you do anything with it now that you were hard for that long? What
I
did you...
took it to the dog track.
And...
My luck, there's 5 cats there.
They're going after you, and the dogs don't go around the track?
It was crazy. I'm sitting there with my thing, and the dogs take off, and they go, "We have a winner." And they went, "Who?" "The guy in the 3rd row." I was in the 3rd row, but my schmeckle was across the finish line.
Before the dogs?
Before the dogs!
I should have bet on your dick. My dick for 45. That's amazing. My cock. My cock's coming around the corner. My cock coming around the corner. The dog is in my cock. I'm on the hind side of the corner around the corner. I'm around the corner. My cock. My cock's still in the lead. My cock's still in the lead. My cock's still in the lead. My cock's coming on the dog. The dog. My cock's a cat. My God, the cock. My cock by a hair.
Hey,
Oh, there it is.
I didn't even know I was in the race.
Too late. You
Suddenly I'm
won.
in the winner's circle with a rose around my head. Big
And a
thing of
big-
roses.
And a girl standing there with a cup in your dick. That's the best way to win.
Um,
Ladies and gentlemen, I think Billy just realized.
what I'm doing.
Yeah. The classiest man in show business.
Yeah, that's me.
When you did Saturday Night Live, did you have a great time?
It was one of the best years of my life. And I loved doing, when I did Fernando, I loved it because it was live.
And you could do interviews.
And I didn't interview them with there was never anything on cue cards except maybe the introduction.
Here's a man. Who was your
Yeah.
favorite character you interviewed? Who's the favorite person that Fernando interviewed?
Mr. T and Hulk Hogan.
What was that like?
Let me ask you this, Hulk. Do you want to direct? And what are you doing for Passover? Do you go to the in-laws one night and your parents the second night? I mean, it went on and on and on where they were just like hysterical laughing.
They couldn't.
Yeah, and then one night, Barry Manilow was supposed to be on, and he was playing at Radio City Musical right across the street from SNL. And it was live. He was supposed to come over around 11:45.
And he didn't make it?
He didn't show up. He got scared because he thought I'd make fun of him because it was live. He didn't think he could keep up with me. But that was part of the fun. It was,
Oh, yeah.
You shouldn't keep up. You should just be straight, and then it gave me something to play off. And he didn't show up. So I took Bobby Faraccio, 375 pounds of camera assistant, and plaid shirt, and brought him into the hideaway. Told the audience what had happened, that he didn't show up.
And said, "This is Barry Manilow."
And I said, "This is Barry Manilow. I won't disappoint my fans, goddammit." And this huge guy was such a hit. "Barry, let me ask you this. You are the makeout king. What's it like being a sex symbol?" And this guy went, Fernando, it's not easy. And he was this huge guy, and it was such a hit. And then I wanted this to be the guy. I wanted this to be like, Susan Anton did not show up. But I won't let, and I would use him for everybody. He didn't want to do it anymore because his neighbors gave him such shit, Yeah.
Oh, man.
It was great fun. But that was what was great about doing the show, was that it was live and unpredictable. And we only did 18 shows. I get people come up to me and go, "How many years did you do the show?" And I go, 18 shows.
Yeah, and they think because they were so strong that people remember them.
Yeah, because
Fernando, Sammy.
I hate when that happens.
And that character, the lady, the one I saw, the piano player.
Oh, Penny Lane.
Penny Lane.
Yeah, she was a transvestite piano bar.
She sang great, though.
The sun'll come up tomorrow. Bet your bottom that tomorrow there'll be sun. Tomorrow. God, I hate the song so much. It gets too high and it hurts to sing.
Why?
Because I'm wearing a song. Anyway, and it was a lot of fun. And then Roy Scheider was the host that show. And then we did Joe Franklin and the Minkmans, Chris Guest and I.
What are the Minkmans like?
The Minkmans were two brothers.
Oh, that's right. I hate it when that happens.
No, that was the other. Those were Willie and Frankie.
You ever put like glass in your eye?
Yeah, because one would forget what the other one did. I took one of them meat thermometers, and I shoved it into my nose just to see how far I could go. It got stuck, so I took one of them ball-peen hammers, right, and I just sort of whacking it. Boy, I hate when I do that. I hate when that happens. And then it's still got, people still say I hate when that happens, almost 20 years later.
What are the Minkmans like?
The Minkmans were Al and, oh, God, what was his name? Like Lou? I can't remember. They were novelty salesmen. They sold Groucho noses and phony dog duty and all that stuff. And that was in a very funny 60 Minutes piece where Marty did Nathan Thurm. I know that.
Yeah.
Well, it's so silly that
I never said that.
yeah, and that was all part of that. And Harry did a phenomenal Mike Wallace. So and then the Joe Franklin shows, and I did some stuff on one. It was just the best.
Then you had the pyramid
place.
with Sammy and
Oh, the
Chocolate Baby.
Jackpot, yes, with Rajiv Vindaloo, the Pakistani gay detective.
chocolate babies.
Yeah, chocolate babies. So it was one of the best years of my life coming here and doing the show.
It kicked.
Oh, it's funny.
This is good. Oh, someone's coming in the room.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Now, we've just been handed espressos that are so strong, it's melting the wax inside the cup. You know what I do?
What is it, Fernando? What do you do?
I don't, when I have espressos, I don't work out no more. I have 3 espressos in the morning.
And?
My heart goes up to 140 beats a minute for 30 minutes. Why run?
You don't need to.
Where am I going?
No place.
So I have espressos, and then I lift my spirits for about an hour.
And that's enough.
That's it.
And then you say, that's my day.
That's a whole day.
Welcome back to Caliente, a show that talks about the Latin. Hot. That's what we are here for. Caliente. Your opinions, Mark Anthony, what do you think? Not the Greek, not the old man, the back, not the
singer?
The singer, yeah.
I don't understand the dark glasses in a dark room. Same with Yak, with Nicholson. What is it? Is your own aura getting in your eyes?
He's reflecting back on himself.
I understand. And he's a big voice for a little guy.
Very much. Julio Iglesias, your opinion?
Don't like no more.
No more, no
like then, but no more.
Why not? Why no syntax?
Too full of himself.
Full of himself in what way?
I don't want to know about all the girls he loved before. That means that he left them, he wasn't nice to them, or kind to them, or sweet to them. Or...
Not like you and Esther.
No, Esther and I had a marvelous relationship. We would love to make love in the pool.
In the pool with others swimming around you?
Yes, that was it.
I love that. And then the fountain would go off, and then you would clean up.
And more than the fountain would go off, I'll tell you that.
Caliente.
Caliente.
You would glaze her like a Danish.
Yes. I have to be in control.
Yes?
I don't like the woman on the top. I don't like it on the bottom. I like it just that they're not even conscious. That's what I like.
You like a nice Klaus von Bülow evening.
Yes, right.
You like them just barely, just a slight pulse. Oh, when Sonny gets blue. You know something? I want to ask you this. Your movies are so wonderful, and you have done so much for the Latin spirit all throughout life. Who do you think does that now for the Latin spirit? We're talking about Mark Anthony. What do you think of the new ones, the new singers, everyone?
I haven't seen too much of the Latin. Well, Ricky Martin.
Ricky Martin. What do you think of Ricky Martin?
He's a cute boy. In every sense of the word.
Oh, you mean so?
He loves to sing and dance and shake his booty.
Much like that, yes. And move it around to the way where you go like, whoa.
Derek Jeter is a good-looking guy, but he don't sing. But he plays the baseball.
Baseball very well, that man.
But the Latin singers, it's a love them, and they're interesting, but they don't have much to say about the human spirit.
Antonio Bandover, what do you think of him? Banderas.
Cute guy.
Guy, yes.
Hairy chest.
Oh, too much.
Too much.
Must.
I don't want to have to work too hard.
No, you don't want a weed whacker when you want to get to hug someone.
You know what I mean?
You have to put an eye out.
No, you have to call in the guy who comes usually Wednesdays and Fridays to do a trim, and I don't need that.
No, you want to be able to say, and you don't want to say, hey, I don't like that.
No.
Bad for you.
Not that I'm involved with the men at all, because I love the women.
Very much so. Jennifer Lopez as a Latin woman, what do you think?
That's a lot of work.
A lot of work, my friend.
A lot of work.
That's just to get past the booty alone. To go for that is
It's más caliente. It's too much.
Then I'm not. You know something? I don't know what to call her.
J-Lo?
J-Lo.
Or pudding?
There's always room. There's always. What did Cosby say? There's always room
For J-Lo.
Boy.
It's been a large, crazy day, this. I want you to take a breath now and relax. And relax yourself now. You feel better.
Yes, I do.
And now it's movies, Daddy.
Movies have been great fun, you know.
It's going to be a great summer for you, Daddy. And then you've got the Pixar movie.
Monsters
I
Incorporated.
saw a preview. It was great.
It's funny.
It was
It's
pretty
funny.
wild.
It's a great story about two monsters. John Goodman and I play the two guys. They're like a Laurel and Hardy relationship. And they live in a place called Monstropolis, and it's all monsters who live there. And Pixar creates this world that's phenomenal. And they work in a factory where the assembly line are doors. And they're all doors. What they are, they're bedroom doors to kids' bedrooms all over the world. And these monsters go in and scare the kids, and they harvest the screams for their energy. And that's the factory, and they make money off it. And they all have these competitions. And I'm like a little one eyeball with like tree frog hands and stuff. It's a funny character named Mike. And his character, Sullivan, is sort of like the Oliver Hardy, the big Wookiee-looking type guy. And one day they leave the door open to this bedroom, and a little human girl comes into Monsterland, and they have to hide her because they've been told that kids are toxic, and that if you're around them, you can die. And so they hide her, and they find out that later it's a sham, and they want to get her back to her door, get her back to her family. And that's pretty much the thrust of the movie. These guys falling in love with this little girl, these two monsters, and having to get her back to her bedroom. And the Pixar people, John Lasseter, and all of those amazing people there who brought us Toy Stories 1 and 2, and I just had a great time doing it.
It's great to riff, isn't it? You just go in and then they just let you go.
Yeah, people should know, you do the voices first,
Right.
then they animate to it, and, no one did it better than you and Aladdin. And they bring it to life.
Yeah, they let you go.
Yeah, but then the audience sort of sees what goes on in your brain. I remember talking with you about Aladdin at the time.
They just, you can do anything because they can. It's the only medium where anything you say is open for game.
Hey, what's great about comedy, and especially, someone who works as incredibly fast as you, I think when we riff, we sort of see something.
Mm-hmm.
We see an image of something. We just sort of describe it, and it comes out. And it's only if you can do it do you know what that feels like. It's this little, and it's there and it's gone. What they do and did great with Aladdin was they saw it. Mm-hmm. They help the audience see it. I mean, if you're going as fast as you go, people can't keep up with you sometimes.
But they can.
But they can, and they make it so vivid to the people. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, they can make the changes. And I could see that when I saw the preview for that all of a sudden you could play off of him and they could pick it up and
Yeah.
go.
And then they turn it into something. So it was great fun. That'll be out on Thanksgiving.
This summer, big movies, for your opinion? What's happening now? What do you think of... Go.
I think Planet of the Apes will be big. I think America's Sweethearts will be huge.
That's right, coming to a theater in July.
Then I think Pearl Harbor looks pretty great.
How does it end?
It's how it begins.
You think
I don't know.
It's always you rewrite the history. Always you rewrite the history with we are so bad. Why? This is just a surprise. Surprise! We try to surprise you.
Oh, look who's here with us, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ang Lee.
I'm still angry. I'm not get a crouching tiger not win.
Still angry.
Angrily.
Angrily.
Always a piss off.
You're sitting in the audience.
I'm sitting there for Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe, you sucker!
Ang, you've won the DGA award.
DGA is okay.
You won the DGA award.
Okay.
You're the favorite to win Best Director.
Best director.
You're sitting there.
I'm right there.
And they go, Steven Soderbergh.
Boom!
What do you do?
I basically, at that point, I am in a rage, but forced to smile for camera.
Because the camera's on you.
You have hosted the Academy Awards. Your
7
opinion,
times.
7 times, and each one different. and fabulous.
We try.
What's it like hosting the Academy Awards? Looking out there, I was there last year with you, sitting there watching you.
Yes, you
coming up,
came into the booth. We had a great time
watching you get ready for that, walking out there.
It's hard,
Jack,
you know,
always
because
the same.
they're not the greatest audience.
Not the happiest group.
They're cold. They're nominated. They're uncomfortable.
And
The
as soon as
lights are
people
on.
start losing, lots of pools of Perrier.
Lots of tenseness. It's not an easy gig. It doesn't sound good in the room. It's just, you know, I know when I'm on stage, I like it loud and I like to hear myself. It's physically uncomfortable.
But you kick it.
And long. You try to do
those
make
film
it different.
clips every year. You've been kicking it with those. Those are great, man.
Well, what's great about the clips is that, one, they're funny, and it gives me big laughs before I even get on the stage.
Then you got foreplay.
Yeah, foreplay.
You're ready to go.
Yeah, I've had a good time. I don't.
Jack Palance, big time.
Oh man, that was a wild night.
That was every time.
I had pneumonia. I had about 104.
Jesus.
Fever. Excuse me, I was really sick. And then Jack won, which I had a feeling he would, because he was the best that year, and it was his time. And he came up, told 2 dirty jokes, and then did the one-arm push-ups.
That was like...
Didn't thank anybody.
And left.
And he said, "Billy Chris, I like crap bigger than you," which was a line from the movie, and people didn't realize it. They thought he had insulted me. And then we just ran with it the entire night.
Oh, God. Jack Palance has now gone to the space shuttle.
Oh, God. We had him winning the New York State primary. There was a scene from Hook. The song from Hook was nominated. There was about 40 kids on stage, and I came out and said, Jack is the father of all of these kids. We just ran with him, and that was the night that Hal Roach started talking in the audience, and no one knew that he was Mike. 100 years. And you were sitting right in the front, and it's always comforting that you're there, and you have that
it was a blast.
The great laugh. It was cool.
Well, buddy, I want to thank you for being here today.
It's been great being on whatever this is.
Whatever it was, whatever it shall be. You left us once again laughing hard.
Wow.
Take it home, Face. Take it home, baby.
Can you dig that? I knew that you could.
Yeah. Good night, everybody.
You've been listening to Robin Williams at Audible.com.
This audio program is presented by Audible.com. Audible. Audio that speaks to you wherever you are.